Miss Blaze, President of CCFA, Caribbean Cultural Festivities Association, that brings you the CARIFIESTA parade every year. The past year has been a very challenging one. Even now, well into 2021, we are trying to adjust to our new reality. One thing is certainly learned, that life is short and there's no guarantee as to how long we all will be here. And just like some of you, we too are mourning and celebrating some of those we lost. At this moment, we'd like you to join us as we take some time to celebrate some of our members that we've lost. Like Maya Angelou once said, or once wrote, I've learned that people will forget what you said. People will forget what you did. But people will never, ever forget how you made them feel. So in that mind, we present to you our memorial.
Mr. Newton Spivey Lewis, his relatives. Spivey, as he was fondly known, was a Calypsonian here in the city, and he was also a board member of the CCFA. Spivey was a very nice person, and it was a shock to us all when he passed.
Yes, this is to say that I know Mr. Newton Lewis for 25 years. He's one of my very closest friends. Regardless that he is not here, I miss him very much, very, very much. He's a guy, he was down to earth. He didn't used to mix matters at all. What he tell you, that is the truth.
Spivey, as people would know him for, well, I would call him Uncle Newton. He was more than an uncle to me. He was like a father. He basically helped raise me since I was an infant, and I went everywhere with him. I went to most of his shows and stuff like that, and I met amazing people, including Agatha, and I had so much fun. It was never like sad when I was with him. It was always an adventure, somewhere we were going. He hated any type of negativity. He was always positive.
Spivey to me was a very, very dear friend. I met Spivey in 2000. We were actually involved in the carnival. I was doing costumes, he was playing mass, and we met. Since then we clicked instantly, and we've been friends since then. Spivey has been a confident person I could go to if I have a problem, person that I could tell whatever I want to tell.
He was very successful with the CCFA organization. If I need help, I call him, he come here. I was getting help. I could have counted on him. And to say the truth, I am talking on his behalf because he's not around. But when good people don't last long, is who on the face of the earth who is doing wrong, they last longer than the good ones. But we cannot do anything about that.
He used to like to have his clothes made also, because he always say, okay, my clothes has to fit me. I'm not buying clothes because it's not what I want. And he usually had this weird looking fabric. I have no idea where he got those fabric, and he bought it to have his clothes made. And for every function he did, he had a different outfit. And he was always the star of the ball.
And many people never knew that he and Arrow, the Calypsonian, his first cousin. 2 brother and sister children. There is where Spivey get all this music from. And he was very, very good in music. He plays guitar, he plays bass, and he could sing.
I'm not really good with music, but he tried to teach me here and there, and I would come sometimes when he would go to the studio or something like that to record his songs or stuff like that. You know, whenever he could bring me, I would love to come. I loved every part of it. Sometimes when we would go to carnivals and stuff like that, or the calypso, stuff like that, I would always come. Even when I was younger, he tried to call me on stage once to come sing with him, but I was too shy and I ended up running off the stage. But otherwise, it was so fun. He always tried to bring me wherever he could, because I was like his little girl to him.
He sang, he wrote some of his own songs, and he was a competitor. He was a fierce competitor too. He participated in the majority of the competitions at Calypso and soca competition they were in Montreal.
When you have friends like that, and if I'm doing something, I said, okay, we'll leave it for tomorrow. He said, no. What you could do today, never leave it for tomorrow. Because tomorrow is not yours. You could do it now, let's do it. He was willpower. Now, since he left this face of the earth, I do not have the power that I used to have years ago, because why? He was a driving force behind me. Now, I don't have that driving force as before, but I still try to do what I could do to please the organization and to please my friends and to please the black community, because all what we do in this carnival, no one get paid. No one get paid. The whole point is this: we do it from the love of it and to make other people happy the same way we can make ourselves happy.
He was, I would say, a family man. He was very dear to his mom. I know he was very, very, very close with his mom. He always spoke about her. Whatever he's doing, I'll say, oh, I got to go to my mom. And that is one thing I really appreciated about him.
The day that I heard that he had to go to Boston was really hard for me, because I was in grade 6 and he was supposed to be coming to my graduation so I can graduate elementary, and unfortunately he didn't get to make it to my elementary graduation, which was really hard on me. And but I knew that he was proud of me either way, so I fought through it, and it was I knew he was there with me, so it wasn't that bad. He was a family man, like she said. It was amazing. He was always there for everyone. He would always drive me and my grandmother everywhere, going even if she wanted just one flower 2 hours away and all the way in Jean Talon, he would go bring her just for one flower. He was so kind and gentle and such an amazing person. You'll never meet anyone else like him. And no matter what hardship or anything bad you did to him, he'll find a way to forgive you and move past it.
You know, Spivey is not here, but he worked with me. And I could always say that he was a very good help to me and to the organization. I will dearly miss him. I know how it is. It's 2 things. We never know when we came into this world, we never know when we will go.
His name is Ernesto Spring, and we call him Nesto fondly. He was the most beautiful person that you can ever meet. He was gentle, he was kind, he was helpful, and he would help anyone with anything that was requested of him, even if you didn't request him. And he always called me his sister. He called everyone his sister and his brother.
Nestor was known for his reckless motorbike riding. Yes, we had motorbikes in those days, back in the island in the 60s, and we used to ride like crazy guys, you know. And we had corners, hills, down hills, and we never eased up around the corners. And when the people see or hear the motorbikes coming, they say, "Here comes the killer bikes." So, you know, if they know they have to get out the way because we ride fast. And everyone liked the way we do. We used to have about 40 bikes leaving the city and ride for about 30 miles up in the country of Georgetown. And people in every village would come out every Sunday and wave us on, and we did all that. He was a very good bike rider also. So, but one day he was in Kingstown on the main street, and there's a gentleman who was driving, I should say, a car for the administrator at the time of St. Vincent. And he accidentally hit Nesto off his bike. He went through a stop sign, not Nesto, the driver. And nothing came out of it, sadly, because he was driving for the administrator. And he was a police officer, and nothing came out of it. Ernesto went to the hospital, couldn't get his arm repaired. They tried a lot of things. The nerves were dead in his arms. They sent him back also to Trinidad to see if and how much, if they could get it better. And he came back with the dead arm. But they didn't remove the arm from his body. But so he remained with that arm for the rest of his life. But anytime he has to wants to move the arm, he has to use his other hand to move it around. And that was one of the big thing about Ernesto. Had one arm, and he still continued. You cannot stop him when he's ready to do his work or do anything that he likes, especially building costume. That never stopped him. He uses one hand and build all the costumes in the band, bending the wires, doing all the different things. And he did a wonderful job. He also, at one time, when he was in St. Vincent, went to Montserrat, sponsored by the flour mill of St. Vincent, to build costume for Montserrat Carnival. Because Montserrat usually have their carnival during the Christmas season. It's not the same time as the other islands, during the Christmas season. And he went up there and built costume in Montserrat. And the first time they had big costumes on the road in Montserrat is when Ernesto went to Montserrat and did that.
Hi, my name is Pete Douglas, and I first met Ernesto with his involvement with Edna Peters and her mass camp. And the reason we became good running buddies is that he found out that I also knew his friend Shaggy from St. Vincent and the Grenadines when I lived down in Brooklyn, New York, and they were very close. And I played soccer, etc., with Shaggy. The one thing that I learned from Ernesto, a lot of people know him for his wire bending and costume making skills, but I saw in him that your handicaps or your disabilities does not define who you are. I saw him doing upholstering, carpentry, sewing, etc. So I'm happy to see that he's finally is being recognized for his contributions towards the culture of carnival in Montreal. And I'd like to applaud all those who have decided upon doing this for him. I also like to thank the Caribbean Curry House, previous owners, for the send-off that we were able to give him. And the night of his send-off, they said whatever money raised, that they would match it, and they did. So once again, there are others who knew Nestor much better than I did, Peter Haywood, the McRae brothers. But I would like to know, I would like to say rather that it was a pleasure knowing him, and I'm glad for the recognition that he.
Nestor came to Montreal about in 1990. He started working in a furniture company, building furniture, doing the upholsteries for the furniture. He can sew very well, as he did make a lot of costumes and sewing and things like that. And he did all that with one hand. And they were very impressed with him. He worked there for a while. But after a while, he got involved in Carnival in Montreal. He met a lady named Edna Peters, wanted to bring a carnival band into Montreal Carnival. This Edna Peters, she knew him from back home, and she also was a police woman, and she did a lot of things. When she came to Canada in Montreal, she brought out a lot of entertainment here in the community, and did a lot of different things. So this time she wanted to bring out a carnival band. And who got picked to make the costume and design the costumes and do everything? And it was Ernesto. Ernesto was there. Everybody used to know him. Ernesto, he was there, and he made a killing that year. They had close to 1,000 people in that band. And boy, it was a big band that year on the streets of Montreal. And Ernesto really made his name after that. He also worked in Toronto Carnival. When Montreal Carnival is finished, he head on over to Toronto. And Toronto Carnival, he worked over there with Kenny Coombs and many other bands in wire bending and costume building. And he made his name by moving around. He didn't only stay here, he also went, when they started Carnival in Ottawa, he went to Ottawa to build costumes also. So he's an all-arounder, and everybody wanted his service, and he went every place. You know, we're so proud of him that you could call him and he's ready, and he's there.
Laisser quelque chose, une lettre en vers ou en prose, un bout de cœur, un bout de ciel, un mois d'avril ou un Noël, quel que soit leur style ou leur âge.
Victor St. Martin, former vice president of the CCFA. He was also a mask builder. He's very meticulous in his mask making. He made Queen's costumes, and when he sat down to make his costumes, very neat, everything had to be perfect.
Victor St. Martin, born December 28, 1940, on Don Donald Street in Belmont, Trinidad and Tobago, and passed away April 19, 2021, in Montreal, Quebec. Many knew him as Victor, some simply as Vic. I knew him as Granddad.
Victor St. Martin, I have known Victor St. Martin for a number of years. He was even a part of the Trinidad and Tobago Bowling League. And he was a person also involved in the Montreal Carnival. Fortunately enough, he was one of the band leaders that could have built costumes, different costumes, and he had a sense of like artistry. He did his own artwork and things like that.
My grandfather was a mass man. I remember going to look for him by the mass camp just to help with whatever I could, to cut, stick, sketch, whatever he needed help with. And after a long day, he'd put some change in my hand, and I would go up to the corner store and get my favorite chicken patty and champagne cola. And when I was fed up with the day, he would say, "You're leaving already?"
My name is Anne Cumberbatch, and I was part of the Carnival community, and I met Victor St. Martin building mass, and at one point I played for different people, but then he had asked me if I would come and play for him, and he built my costume, and we would go back and forth. Like, he was very particular about putting his costumes together, and I played for him for about 2 years. 1 year I played, and I had to leave town for a wedding, and my daughter carried the costume for me. So Carnival was Victor's thing. He liked Carnival, he liked doing the costumes, he liked putting those beads and everything on together, and he was so into it that he would he would start early in the day. I would go to work, come back, he's in the garage making the costumes. If something is needed, he'd say, "Okay, we need this," and we'll run around and get it. And he was very passionate. I have to give him that. He was very passionate about doing his costumes.
I don't think he knew how amazing it was for a grandchild to see their grandfather take an idea, a design, from paper to 15 feet in the air, something that would be shaking and dancing in the sunlight, and then to watch the crowd stand there in awe of his creation. Really was quite something else.
Victor and I we were like in the costume business together. We brought this different bands, so there was always like a competition between us and the other band leaders, because it's like who has the better costume, who has the bigger costume, and things like that. So the competitiveness was great. Not really like today. Today it's a different thing, because we are not seeing anyone that replacing the elders that had the skills of doing this kind of thing. Unfortunately, we all have just a short time here, and whatever skills that we have, I believe it should be passed on. I hope that Victor did pass on some to his grandchildren that will be able to take the culture.
He
maybe
controlled
to a different
whatever
level.
he was doing. That was his thing. So the time I spent with Victor, he was Victor. We had good times, we smiled, we laughed, we had fun, and it's sad now that he's no longer here, that we can tell him this in person, but things happen and we can't change the route we have to take. And I hope at this point Victor is resting in eternal peace. And I think he is, with his cigarette in his hand.
Some of my greatest memories was 2014 when I performed at Trinidad at Parc Jean Drapeau. That was the first time he ever saw me perform. And that was really something magical. As soon as I got off stage, I saw these arms come from behind me and they locked in, and I just looked down and I saw these rings and I said, "Gramps?" He said, "Yes, darling." I said, "Do you believe in magic?" And he said, "Only the best kind."
I wish his family all the best. And I just want to say one last thing before I go. There's a saying that you cometh from the Lord, and to him is your return. So we are just here for a time, and we got to return at some time.
We have to honor him in what he did, honor him for what he did, because of his passion with the carnival. And he also became the president of the organization. And he was another thing again, him again. Victor was there, he did what he had to do. And that's how we ended. Along the way, I would see him on the road and we would talk about carnival and costumes, and I was done with the playing of the mass in Montreal. But I think if he was here, he would still want to build a mass if somebody went to him to do it. So, Victor St. Martin, wherever you are floating right now, rest in eternal peace.
Tommy G, young, articulate, go-getter. He knew what he wanted and what he was going for. He was the band leader of Jab Army. It's a band from Toronto. Every year they came to Montreal with their hordes of people, and they were so popular. Tommy, I've had the pleasure of chatting with whenever he came to Montreal or when I bumped into him in Ottawa for Ottawa Carnival. Tommy was so focused on what he wanted to do with Jab Army.
You know what you want, and you know right at the moment you have what you need. Whatever you want is achievable. You just got to figure out the steps to get to it. I'm gonna tell you something, like when you're into no sleep and drinking and partying every night, and then you think about you have a kid or you have a family at home, it changes everything for you. The dynamics change.
So one of the biggest things we have at Brook is our annual barbecue, where all the guys from all different parts of Ontario, we all gather at the office and we have a big barbecue. Sometimes you haven't seen someone in months, you haven't seen someone in years. The guys bond, we fool around, we have a good time, you know.
As this weekend was supposed to be our CARIFIESTA anniversary 46, it truly saddens me that we couldn't be on the road to give you guys what you've been waiting for forever. It's been, I think, 2 years that we haven't been on the road now, and I know it's going to be truly missed. But this year, in lieu of not having a CARIFIESTA parade, the team and I thought it'd be best to start promoting for next year, as well as showing tribute and remembering those we lost who were a pivotal part of CARIFIESTA in terms of making costumes, building costumes, or even being part of our team, our membership. And they will be missed for their contributions. You know, we're gonna miss these kind of people in terms of their contribution and their shine when it came to their spotlight and their delivery of what it is. Another one that we lost this year was a very good friend of mine. We were very close. This one's kind of hard because, like I said, he was a friend of mine. Tommy G, Oriando Charles. I met Oriando, and I can't even tell you when I met him because it was a while back. But what I can tell you about him is his spirit was bigger, larger than life. His grind, his drive, his vision was unmatched. I remember when we talked, I told him, you know, as a friend, I respected him, you know, and he became closer than that. He became my brother. Wow. I didn't think he'd touch me again talking about it. But yeah, I can't say no more about it, man. Tommy, I miss you. I love you. Until we see each other again. Yeah. I'm sure you're gonna hear other people talk about him, and we're gonna miss all these people. You know, we lost a few, and we love them. We want them to know, even though they can't hear it now, let them know that we miss you. And I, Evers Blaze, otherwise known as Trax, would like to thank you for all your contributions that you were able to put forth during my time and my tenure. And I appreciate all your love and all your support. I just want to thank you guys for watching. And I want to thank you guys for taking the time to build. I also want to remind you guys, this is time of pandemic, and we urge you to be careful out there. Wear your mask, sanitize, and take all precautions needed so that you stay safe. CCFA would like to thank you for your continued support. I would like to thank you for your help, for your support, and for you just coming out and enjoying yourself. Have a good day.
Quelque chose, un enfant livre une rose, une chanson ou un secret, une habitude ou un regret. Ils nous ont tous laissé quelque chose. une lettre en vers ou en prose, un mot de cœur, un bout de ciel, un mois d'avril ou un Noël, quel que soit leur style ou leur âge, quel que soit le temps qu'ils nous ont aimés. Les fidèles ou bien les volages, les prudents ou les vite enflammés, nous ont tous laissé quelque chose.